Hello, Exosage here on the Sage channel, and what do you know, maybe you just got a hold of Medieval Engineers on the February 11th sale, or maybe it's actually after February 18th and you just picked it up on Steam. Either way, this is a video to give you guys a heads up on what you'll find when you load up Medieval Engineers and give you a bit of a tutorial through some of the very basics of building structures and also just the basic UI. If you're familiar with Space Engineers, most of this you're already going to know, but if you don't, New World basically gives you two options. Quick Start will toss you straight into World. Custom World will actually let you choose what the basic world you're going to be spawning in is, and you have a big list here on this side. We have a very small world, which is actually a shockingly very small world. We have small terrain right here, which is just a small plot of terrain. Normal terrain, pretty nice amount of land actually. And then we have large terrain, which is actually a humongous amount of terrain. In the future, I believe these will all be randomly generated, but they seem right now, whenever I loaded up large terrain multiple times, it had the same layout. But it's still pretty damn cool stuff, and of course in the future it'll probably be randomized and they'll have endless worlds is something they've said they would definitely want to do. Then we have bridges, which is basically a few little bridges just to give you an idea of how you could build bridges, that way they will survive and not fall down because of their own weight. And then we go up one more and we got castles right here, which is the castle you might be familiar with from the original reveal trailer of this game. Pretty damn cool place. You can go ahead and look around it. A few things fall apart right here and there, but overall it's a pretty cool place, and of course it has a huge amount of land if you would like to build around it as well. Then we have plains, which is one of my favorites just because it's a big open expanse, so you can just build and build and build and build in it, and there's a few trees too, so it has some character to it. And then we do also have Two House, which is basically one of their little preview worlds to show you, again, how you could build bridges, small wooden houses, and a bit of a wall or something, and a tower. It's very simple, just to show you off some stuff. And then we have Quick Start, which is actually the one we're going to load up right now. And I'm going to disable autosaving, because it always seems to get me in trouble. And then we have Structural Integrity here, which basically means buildings can fall down because of their own weight if that's turned on. If you want to build something fantastic, or I say fantastic, fantasy styled or something of that sort, where it's going to be top heavy or whatever, or you just don't want to worry about it falling apart as you're building it, you can turn that off, build it, and then come back into the world settings at any time and turn that back on. And the way you would get to world settings, I'm just exiting out of this really quickly, is the load world button right here on the left. You can do that, and you can do edit settings here on the left, and you can just turn structural integrity back on and off. In the future, there'll probably be an advanced button for more options, like switching over the world to survival mode. And either way, let's go ahead, do our custom world, and load up this Quick Start world. And there we go, we've loaded in nice and quick. And right away you'll notice the very nice grass and this nice little house over here. I'm going to fly up real quick, that way you can just see the basic size of this Quick Start world. It's the same every time, but it's a pretty good sized world, I'd actually say. And it's got the little edges of the mountains popped up around it, that way you can't quite see so easily that the world just ends right there. But remember, in the future, they want the worlds to be endless, so won't have to worry about that for too long, I don't think. Either way, this is our first little house that they give you right here. It's a pretty nice little house, and of course we have structural integrity on, so you can see it's not falling over, even though it is indeed capable of doing so if there was too much weight here. And you can actually walk inside. It's a pretty nice little house that you have a few nice little windows in. And you can see, if you're not familiar with this game, it has much thinner walls than you might expect if you're played Space Engineers. That's because, of course, blocks within blocks. I've done a video on that before, but I've just turned on my UI. That way I can show you guys building. Now, to start a structure in Space Engineers, of course, you would press G and you click New Station or whatever. Here, just aim at the ground and do a nice little left click. And you can see now we're placing blocks down here on the ground. Pretty simple and straightforward. And let's say we want to go ahead and make this a stone house. Well, what we can do is press 3 to get our little stair block in. These, by the way, the bottom bar there is the basic layout that they give you whenever you start. 6 to put a doorway in. I find this doorway currently has a bit of a bug where if you try to go through it, oh, it works perfectly fine now. Yesterday it wasn't. It is not working well now. We can go ahead and place in a few windows here too. The rotation of blocks is a bit strange. It seems to be the reverse of how it works in Space Engineers, but overall it's pretty dang good. So let's go ahead and put a solid wall in right here. And you might notice there I put a block within a block. That's because I aim at it, press Alt, and a block goes in. Pretty simple and straightforward. So you can see, very, very cool, pretty cool, nice, awesome, great, grand, whatever. How many more words can I use to say it's pretty nice? And you can build up your buildings like that. Now, you might be saying, okay, that's fine and dandy, but I'd like to do something more advanced, please, Sage. Well, you can press G, just like you would in Space Engineers, and you got all sorts of blocks here. Now, what you'll notice is some of these blocks have little plus signs next to them. That's because plus sign blocks, and let me do a Shift 2 to switch to my second set of toolbars at the bottom. And we're going to right-click to get a few of these down here that have the plus signs on them. And that's because blocks with plus signs are actually basically like multi-blocks, where in Space Engineers and earlier builds of this, there were just tons and tons of blocks here for hundreds of different variations of roof. Well, now, if let's say I wanted to go ahead and put this here, it's on a corner, let's move our mouse button, so we're using the scroll on our mouse button to switch to a different type of block. And of course, we're going to rotate this around, put it there. Now we want to just put a straight one here, so we can once again use our mouse button and rotate around, or not rotate around, but switch to a different type of block, all while still having the same block down on our hotbar selected. So it just saves a lot of space in your G menu. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. So there we go, got all those in. What else do we want? Well, let's go ahead and say we want a wooden floor there. So let's grab this wooden floorboard, drag it down there. Let's get some wooden stairs in as well. So let's go ahead, plop these stairs in right here. Again, holding Alt, it goes in there. Let's say we also want some railing on it. Well, because this block is counting as a full block, actually that's not the railing I wanted the slanted railing. We can go ahead and place that right here. You can see that it looks like the actual supports for this railing would be on the wrong side. So mouse scroll wheel, it flips it around the other way. And now when I hold Alt, it lines it up perfectly. I can put that in there without any issue. And let's go ahead and just aim there, press Alt and Control. So I pressed Alt to put it inside another block, Control, that way I could do a click and drag. Pretty nice stuff there. And we've built up a nice little tower base here, which I believe if we go ahead and land right here. By the way, X to turn on and off flight mode. I can't quite fit up there even if I crouch, so we're going to have to go ahead and delete that one piece of wood right there. And the way we're going to do that is aim directly at it, press Alt and right click, and delete whatever you're aiming at usually. So even though it's a multi-block, if I just right clicked, it would delete the corner section there. Because I was holding Alt, it just got rid of that one. So now we can go up and down this stairwell nice and easily. They do also have an assortment of different stairwells and stuff, but first I'm going to show you these blocks here really quickly. Let's do a copy and paste on this building, place it in there. You can place it slightly into the terrain, and it looks like it stays for now, it doesn't collapse, which is pretty cool stuff. Now let's go ahead and select one of these blocks, and we're just going to delete the whole top here, and we're going to go ahead and replace it with a different type of roofing. So we got this block here. In fact, we should probably bring, oh, you can see a little bit of something seems to have survived there from the stairs. We're going to go ahead and I'll set us up a building real quick. How about that? There we go. Super basic start to a building. We're going to go ahead and place a stairwell piece in right there, right here. I'm rotating that around. And of course, if you decide you want the stairs to go the other direction as opposed to the one I just put in, can I right click and only delete some of this? Actually, yes, you don't have to hold Alt on that anymore. Let's go ahead and swap that around again. There we go. But if you want the stairwell to go the other way, you can of course be selecting this rounded stairwell piece that I have on my number 8 button and use your mouse wheel, and you see I'm flipping this back and forth. So now I can go ahead and have it twist around that way, which also lets you do some pretty cool stuff if you were to want to have stairwells like arching 2 directions at once or something of that sort. Anyway, it comes up to the second floor. Now we're going to use our number 1 key and place in these little bits that stick out the other side. And of course, we get to this corner right here, and you wouldn't want that. So again, middle mouse scroll. You can see you got a lot of different blocks that you can select from while doing that middle mouse scroll. They even have another block in there. You can see this one. So if you have a convex corner, you would be able to fill that corner in nice and easily without having to worry about any strange shapes or anything like that. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm very happy with all of this so far. Let's go ahead and just finish this off though. Right, yo-ho, the you, nope, you, there we go, and one less little piece. It works really well, and I suspect this might even come back into Space Engineers and other things like that. I could even imagine with the heavy armor it just being one block for heavy armor, one block for light armor, and you switch between all the different types. Don't know if it'll be quicker or not. We'll have to find out in time, I guess, if they do that. And then you can see we have this block here, which is similar to the first wall we were putting up, like this one, but of course this one is centered, so it fits on these. And of course, scroll wheel for this as well. You get these nice little corner pieces that you can plop in. Very nice stuff. It's pretty cool. All the little tiny different things. And I'm just doing this to show you guys that if you look and you're like, wait, I can't seem to find a block I would need to make this work. Well, there's a good chance that whatever you're trying to do is possible. Just look for that little plus sign right next to whatever block you think might be similar to what you need, and there's a good chance you'll find it there. Anyway, let's go ahead and also put a roof on part of this random little house we have here. And I've gone to Shift 3, and I'm going to go ahead and just grab our roof block. And let's just go right here, and right here. We might have a collapse here. And then let's cap this off with a nice little capping block they have right here. And let's go all the way across. There we go. So now you can see we have a strange little house with a few openings. We can also go ahead and fill those openings in with a few of these blocks here. So let's say I wanted to, actually, let's go ahead and remove that one as well. Ooh, worried it was going to fall over. You can put stuff into these and fill it in. Now you will notice sometimes if you do this that the roofs might change. Roofs might change a little bit, so we can rotate it around, rotate that there. Remember what I said, it's the rotation is a bit different than it is in Space Engineers. Sometimes it seems to feel backwards if you're used to Space Engineers, but whatever, it gets the job done. It works reasonably well. There we go, rotate that there. And you can see we're basically filling in these gaps. Let me just go ahead and do this a little bit more. Now what you might notice while I'm doing this though is sometimes the edges of these roofs might disappear. So we can go ahead and do this. There we go. Now, something you might notice is that sometimes these roofs might disappear. So I'm holding Alt to place that in there. There we go. It didn't happen this time. They might have fixed it. But you can see right here, there's sharp edges. There's just a sharp edge right here. And it's probably because this block is sort of blocking it. Pretty cool stuff, though. And you see we now have our strange little house here. And let's rotate that around. That's not the right block to put it inside. There we go. I gotta highlight the right block that I want it to go into, and then sometimes you have to aim from the side. There we go. So now it's all filled in. And I'd rejig this part right here to be a bit different. There we go. So I went about and rejigged all that so it looks a bit better. And then of course I can do the same as I did with the original roof and go ahead and, oops, there we go. Place our roofing in and finish it off like that. So now I have my very strange little castle house thing right here with a doorway leading through it, so I can go ahead, start down here. I guess I gotta fly up a little bit, go through our doorway, and go up this nice spiral staircase that it actually lets you go up, which is pretty cool. Sometimes you run into a little bit there, but don't worry, I'm sure they'll get that fixed. And out her door, and you see that the collision mesh of the character is very thin, so you're not bumping into everything. You can actually walk down all these very cool little thin paths, which I adore a lot. It's really pretty impressive. That's the basics of building with structures. Remember, you build anything too strange and it's going to come crashing down. Let's say if you just decide to do a straight pillar into the heavens. Well, too much weight at the base, the whole thing comes crashing down. In fact, yeah, there we go. We might actually be in danger of it hitting one of our other houses. I think it's going to miss it. There we go, it missed luckily. And of course these, I believe they're currently a bit static. Yes, so when you copy and paste some of these, they act as static objects, but if you use the number 8 button on the basic hotbar, you'll have a projectile you can toss at it, and you can cause some structural integrity damage. And I think, yeah, the reason this is floating is just because it started on the ground. But of course, if you were to go ahead and take out some of the supports around the edges of these buildings, they would come crashing down. So if we were to go ahead and take out all the edges around here, our building is going to eventually come tumbling down. Because I did have structural integrity on, I believe, on this world. Or I thought I did. Let me go double check that, shall I? Yeah, it was definitely on. Oh, there we go. It must have just taken a second to fully register. Can be a bit finicky from time to time. Anyway, there you go. Oh, you can see, and reloading the world has caused this building apparently to realize its folly that it should not have been floating. And of course you can copy and paste and toss pieces around, which is a pretty interesting thing to see, just like you would in Space Engineers, just making a wonderful big mess out of things. Pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Anyway guys, that's the basics for this stuff. There is also building with small, tiny little blocks. If we were to go ahead and look at these, you have tons and tons of little blocks that you can put on stuff and make machinery with that. It's a bit more advanced for just a simple starting video, so I'm going to leave that to you guys to work on. I'm sure I'll do a video on it sooner rather than later. And yeah. Oh, you can also place most of those onto actual large block bits. So if I wanted to have a pillar right here, I can very easily make a pillar right here, which is pretty cool. Even though it can be a bit finicky if you were to hit it. Sometimes I've seen them break, yeah, into like hundreds of little tiny chunks. But of course you can work around that by scroll wheeling on this because you saw the plus sign. So you can place in larger pieces at a time. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty damn cool stuff. Yeah. I like it a lot. Everything in this is pretty impressive so far. Oh, alright, and just so you know, there is indeed voxel shaping stuff. If you press H, you can shape voxels, carve into it, right click, left click to add. Pretty cool stuff. They also have the F10 menu so you can have blueprints, doing Control B to save a blueprint. And what else do we have? I think that's the gist of it. They have tons and tons of stuff to mess with, far more than I can explain in even this lengthy amount of time. And I'm surprised that didn't fall. Must have been because they built it from static. I don't know. It can be a bit finicky right now. Remember, early access just came out today. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this was informative enough for the simple building stuff. And also, of course, showing you through the UI. If you're familiar with Space Engineers, I'm sure it wasn't really that necessary. But I find the plus sign things that they have on these blocks to be really damn impressive to allow you to add. And it's just pretty damn cool, really. And that's just hovering now. But little one, oh, dang it. It looked like it was going to be actually stuck on there pretty well. Anyway, guys, that's that. Enjoy trying to build your vehicles with these wheels and all this stuff. I'm going to go fiddle with that some more. And continue building on a massive something I was working on earlier that was completely unrealistic but pretty cool, I thought. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.